The notion of accessible design really is a byword for good design.
The brief for this building starts with the core principle of access to justice enshrined in the Constitution.
What we've tried to achieve here is a broader sense of accessibility. I do believe this does set a standard in that regard.
All members of society have access to justice regardless of ability or disability.
In public buildings particularly, your client goes beyond the person who writes the brief. It's, the public at large. Certainly the comments that we've had to date have been very positive about how the building operates, and that's very satisfying.
The Four Courts is an iconic building designed by Gandon, and it's been the centre of the administration of justice in Dublin for a number of centuries now. It's an iconic building. However, increasingly in the modern era, it had problems in terms of the running of criminal trials there, access issues, segregation issues, security issues. That essentially was the origin of the brief for the new Criminal Courts of Justice.
The courthouse design by its nature is complicated. Having a scenario where people can't meet except in one particular room, i.e. the courtroom, is a difficult challenge spatially, and it had the theme of accessible design right at its heart.
This building represents the largest investment in courts since the foundation of the state. It was nice to see a Dublin firm of architects and an Irish contractor come together to deliver this building after fierce competition, really.
Have we discussed further the issues? I'm just one part of the orchestra, if you like. There's a significant number of bodies involved in making the building a success. The design problem came into the practice as a whole. Somebody within the practice has to take on the responsibility of leading the project team, and that fell to me. This is the Great Hall. This is the physical and spiritual centre of the building. We were very mindful that we wanted to put the public at the centre of the project. This space allows the public to access all of the courtrooms and the public functions of the building. I had just come back from Italy on holidays, and I'd just been to the Pantheon in Rome, which obviously was a key moment, and this building, is essentially a Pantheon-type solution.
We could have adopted an approach whereby we looked at a number of courtrooms of the 22 and made them universally accessible. We actually decided to take all 22 courtrooms, and I think that reflects an ethos that we have as a public organisation. It certainly represented a challenge to the design team, but I think it's one that they absolutely embraced. The very basic idea of a ramp, and we think of people in wheelchairs immediately, but accessibility goes way beyond that in terms of how design needs to react. Just simple things like lighting levels so that people can lip read, or for the visually impaired to make sure that your lighting levels are such that they can properly see the contrast between colours and so on. It's obviously very satisfying to see the project come to fruition. It's been a very exciting journey all the way, and a very rewarding one. Ultimately, we should be making spaces that are easy to use for everybody in every part of society, and not just making pieces of art which people walk around. So accessible design has been intrinsic to the brief, and therefore intrinsic to the solution.